All right, Larry Krueger here from Levi's, across the street from Levi's, getting ready for training camp practice on a Tuesday for the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show. Brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out, and they do run out. Also, thanks to Clawdaddy Arcades. Hope you're enjoying the mic setup here, courtesy of Clawdaddy Arcades. All right, let's talk a little Niners. Just a couple quick thoughts before we head over to practice. The Niners right now are just the walking wounded. I mean, seriously, if they had a breakfast, 3 guys would go down. These guys could get hurt checking into their hotel. I mean, they were the most injured team in pro football last year. They're the most injured team in pro football this year. It's got to end. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I don't want to point fingers, but I mean, at this point, I mean, you're just losing guys. I mean, you're going to lose the season before the season begins. Now, none of the injuries are long-term season enders, which is that, I guess, is the good news. Probably the most significant injury so far has been the Kevin Givens pec, which is going to keep him out for a period of time. But yesterday, the 49ers, we find out, lose Jordan Watkins with a high ankle sprain for a month. And when you combine that with the fact that Demarcus Robinson is going to miss the first 3 games, likely because of an NFL suspension due to a violation of the conduct policy. Jacob Cowing, we're going to check out today for the first time. He should be out here. He's yet to participate. He's had a hamstring. Brandon Ayuk's got the knee. Juwan Jennings has the calf contract. So, I mean, the Niners are without a lot of receivers, and suddenly there's a lot of speculation. You know, who are they going to have an opening day of Robbie Chosen and Russell Gage and all these backup receivers who are waiver wire type guys? And the answer is maybe. I mean, they might. Robbie Chosen is a big receiver who runs 4.3. Russell Gage is looking better than he has in recent years. He's healthier, but I mean, neither of these guys are going to set the world ablaze, and it makes you wonder what else. I mean, a lot of people have been asking me, who else is out there? What other options do they have? So let's do a quick deep dive on what's out there. You can go get Amari Cooper. He's 31. He was one of the names they asked for in the Ayuk speculation with the Browns. He played with the Browns and the Bills last year. But the bottom line is he wasn't very good. He had 44 receptions and 4 touchdowns on the year. In the 3 playoff games, he barely did anything. So he just wasn't much of a factor. So, I mean, before you go give Amari Cooper some significant dollars, what's he got left in the tank? He's 31, and he looked really done at the end of last year. Then there's Gabe Davis. Now, I like Gabe Davis. He's 26. He's a good player, but he's also coming off a knee injury. How healthy is the knee? The Niners brought him in for a workout, so they probably got an up-close look at him, and they didn't seem overly eager to sign him. He went to work out for Pittsburgh. They seem like they're interested in every receiver walking. They didn't sign him. So obviously he doesn't look good in these workouts, or he's not fully healthy yet, and nobody wants to take a chance on Gabe Davis, probably because of what he looks like coming off this knee surgery. Then there's Kendrick Bourne. And I know there's a lot of people like, hey, you know, Kendrick Bourne. And I would say if I had to put money on a receiver, like a receiver that I could see the Niners adding, I'd probably put it on Kendrick Bourne, just because, I mean, this is like old home week. They brought back Keyshawn Vaughn. They brought back Jeff Wilson Jr. I get the feeling that Shanahan, as we get closer to the season, doesn't really want to coach up any new guys. He just wants to get guys that already know his system. And so Kendrick Bourne might make sense. He's 30. You'd have to come up with a trade with New England or wait till the cut down, most likely. He's likely to be cut, but he's likely to be cut for a reason, because he's not very good. He tore his ACL in 2023, and he hasn't been the same guy since. Last year, he had 28 receptions and 1 touchdown in the entire season. So, I mean, you can go for Kendrick Bourne, but what's he going to do? And we're going to trade a day 3 draft pick to have another slowish 30-year-old receiver coming off a ACL who has a past but not a present or a future. I don't know if that makes sense. But I could see he would be the name, if I had to guess, that they would be after. It would probably be him because you can get him for nothing. He's not going to cost you much, except, as I said, a 6th-round pick. I actually wouldn't even trade that for him. But I just don't think he's any good at this point. Yeah, he would know the offense, but is he any good? And is he just going to clog things up for younger receivers that you'd rather play anyway? So that's the question with him. Then if you expand your search and say, well, is there anybody who's really talented but maybe, kind of tough to handle that might be out there? Kadarius Toney's out there. He's 26. I believe he's got some legal entanglements currently, but he's a great athlete. I mean, he's a big play waiting to happen. There's no question about that. They call that guy the human joystick. I mean, he's all over the place. I mean, his stop and start and movement ability is off the charts, but he's crazy. I mean, crazy, and has had a lot of problems. So I don't know if they probably want to steer clear of that. But if you're just looking for, I don't care what the guy's like, just get me somebody who can score touchdowns and make big plays and be the impact guy. Kadarius Toney is going to be a whole lot better than Kendrick Bourne, Gabe Davis, or Amari Cooper at this point, you would think, just because those guys are old and slow, and he's not. He's young and athletic and fast. Tyler Boyd is still out there. I know the Niners looked at Tyler Boyd, at least considered him in free agency in years past. He's out there. He's 30. He was with Tennessee last I checked. He was pretty good in Cincinnati, kind of a tough receiver going back to Pittsburgh. And he might even be buddies with Pinnock. Maybe Pinnock could recruit Tyler Boyd, but Boyd is a 30-year-old receiver who's probably already played his best football. Brandon Powell is another name on the list. They worked him out recently. The former, I believe, Minnesota Viking. He's kind of interesting. If you're looking for a significant player that you could potentially trade for, Green Bay's got a huge glut of receivers, and there's a lot of speculation that they're going to trade Romeo Dobs. That would be the guy. I'd rather trade a 4th-round pick for Romeo Dobs or a 3rd-round pick for Romeo Dobs, who is a free agent to be. So he's a free agent at the end of the year. You'd get him only for 1 year, unless you wanted to sign him. But he's a Nevada kid. He's from the West. He went to Nevada Reno. And he is exactly the kind of receiver that they need. He's in his prime. He can make plays. I think there's more upside potential than he ever showed in Green Bay. If based on these names, that would be the guy that I would go after. I'd wait till the cut down and offer a 3rd-round pick next year or a 4th-round pick for Romeo Dobs. It might be too high of a pay, but beggars can't be choosers. Green Bay's not going to give you Romeo Dobs. The Niners are probably the last team they want to help. So yeah, if you want Romeo Dobs, you're probably going to have to give a 3rd or 4th-round pick in next year's draft. But you know what? I think I might be willing to do that because I think Romeo Dobs could have a 4 or 5 year run here. I think Dobbs is a good receiver who could really fit this offense and not just be a receiver here, but flourish in this offense. And I think he's worth a 3rd or 4th-round pick in next year's draft. Obviously, I'd rather trade a 4th than a 3rd. One other name. Now, this is just wild speculation, and I don't like to travel in wild speculation, but right before I went to tape this video, I was looking at Bleacher Report. They just had an article pop up literally a minute ago by a guy named Brent Sableski, 4 trades for Tyreek Hill. So I'm like, okay, let's see. Are the Niners in one of these trades? The very first trade they put out there is this one. And if this were available, the Niners should do this in a New York minute. Juwan Jennings to Miami with a 2026 6th-round pick for Tyreek Hill. Now, obviously, Tyreek Hill's got a huge contract. And there's financial ramifications, which is why you would get him for Juwan Jennings in a 6th-round pick. But if you just want to say receiver for receiver, asset for asset, forget the money. Juwan Jennings in a 6th-round pick for Tyreek Hill? I know Tyreek Hill isn't the player that he was, and he had a little bit of a down year last year, but come on. Nobody's who they used to be. I'm not who I used to be. You're not who you used to be. JJ's not who he used to be. Nobody's who they used to be, so who cares? At the end of the day, Tyreek Tyreek Hill is still a hell of a receiver. He's a big play guy. If you're in it to win it, you got all these great superstar Hall of Famers, Kittle, Bosa, Trent, CMC. If you're in it to win it, the Super Bowl, folks, is right here. Do you want to be in that game? Do you want to be in Super Bowl 60? Tyreek Hill is the kind of move that would be like all in. We are all in. And that's a great message to send to a team, whether you have an old team, a young team. In this case, you got a lot of young cats over here. They could easily look at this season as, hey, we're kind of in a developmental year. This isn't a developmental franchise. They play to win. The Super Bowl's here. You want to be in it. You get Tyreek Hill, and that is a huge statement that you want to be in that game. All right, couple thoughts beyond. So those are the receivers that are out there. I mean, that's wild speculation from Bleacher Report. I don't think it's going to happen. As I said, I think the smart deal is trade a 3rd or 4th round pick for Romeo Dobs. I think that's the way I would play it. That's what I would do. He's younger, he's healthier, he's cheaper, he's motivated, right? He's a free agent at the end of the year. He's playing for a contract. I think Dobbs would be the answer of all those guys. But I am intrigued. I am intrigued by JJ and a 6th for Tyreek Hill. I got to be honest. That is intriguing. All right, a couple other thoughts from the game. Couple thoughts after the rewatch and looking at some of the breakdown of all the different stats in the game, looking at the film a couple times, watching some of the cut-ups, reading all the articles, looking at the grades, just fully immersed myself in everything Niners Broncos for the first week. And a couple things that really stood out. There's a lot of people who the Niners aren't doing anything for their offensive line. Their offensive line, they've ignored their offensive line. Well, guess what? Quietly, the 49ers are rebuilding this offensive line. Last year, Dom Pooney, plug and play. He was fantastic, the starter at right guard for the 49ers for the foreseeable future. In the game on Saturday night, Connor Colby, 24 passing plays, allowed 0 pressures. 0 pressures for Connor Colby. He looked really good. In addition to 0 pressures, Pro Football Focus gave him a 73.3 run blocking grade, which is a good run blocking grade. So he had a very clean card. He didn't have any penalties. He didn't allow any pressures in 24 pass blocking opportunities, and he had a good run blocking grade. Connor Colby might have been a nice little get for the 49ers. They may have their guard tandem with Pooney and Colby for the foreseeable future. But wait, there's more. Drew Moss also had some great film. Brad Graham put up some phenomenal film of Drew Moss, who had some fantastic reps. He had 16 pass blocking opportunities. He gave up 0 pressures and had a 71.9 run blocking grade, which is not as good as Colby's, but it's still damn good. Moss looks like maybe he's built like a center. He's more of a fire plug. He's powerful. But Moss might be their center of the future, and Colby might be their left guard of the future. And guys, that future may happen very, very soon. So quietly, do the Niners need tackles in this next draft? Yes. Are they a Trent Williams tackle injury away from a nightmare? Yes. But quietly, Pooney at right guard, Moss at center, Colby at left guard. This is very much could be the future of the interior of the Niner offensive line, and it looks very bright. 3 really good young offensive linemen. Very excited about that. And 2 last thoughts. Corey Kiner. You guys know I'm the biggest Corey Kiner head. Corey Kiner's been a damn good football player for a long time. He was great in high school. He was great at LSU. He was great at Cincinnati. He's one of the all-time Bearcat rushers. He's been great in this camp. He was phenomenal Saturday night. But how about this? The highlight of Corey Kiner's night, he had a 78.2 pass blocking grade. He did the job. He stonewalled guys as a blocker. This guy did not allow a single pressure when he was on the field. If you want to get on the field for Bobby T, you got to block. No block, no rock. That's bottom line. You got to block. You got to be able to pass protect. Why is it that young running backs don't get on the field? They can't pass protect. They get their quarterback killed. This guy can run. He's tough. He can pass protect. This is an ideal finisher for the 49ers. Corey Kiner. Remember that name. He is going to have a career in San Francisco. I think he's going to be fun to watch. What a find. What an absolute find by Lynch and his personnel guys. And lastly, there's a couple of different reports that I'm reading that the Niners and the Lions are the two teams hot on the trail of Sedarius Smith. Niners, I mean, it's go time. Once again, the Super Bowl is here. Do you want to be in the Super Bowl? Yes, you want to be in the Super Bowl. You have Bosa, you have Huff. Do you want to block Sedarius Smith? If so, let him go to Detroit. Do you want to have Sedarius Smith sacking Jared Goff? If so, then sign him here. 9 sacks, 66 pressures. He's on the market. You have $47 million in cap room. Tomorrow is promised to nobody. Who knows what the future brings? Trent Williams could retire next year. Half of your awesome core could be gone. Seize the moment. Sedarius Smith would make a ton of sense. I love Huff, but Mikael Williams is dinged up. Bottom line is right now it's mid-August, and pass rush is like, yeah, it would be nice. A month from now, pass rush is going to be like you'd cut your brother for it. You'd do anything for pass rush. I mean, in 2 months from now, you would die for pass rush. Sedarius Smith is out there. Sign him up. Load up on some pass rushers. Once you can't move a quarterback off the spot, you're done. You got a ton of young DBs. What do you need when you got a ton of young DBs? Pass rush. Pass rush. And one last thought. I tweeted about this today. I'm getting very concerned. Niners need 6 good corners. Lenore, Green, Stout, those are your top 3. Jacob Robinson's looked great. He's undrafted. Darrell Luter's a young, talented corner. Those guys have got to be on the roster. But then there's also Trey Brown, guaranteed $500,000. There's Saron Neal, a special teamer who's been guaranteed $2.25 million. If they wind up cutting Jacob Robinson and Darrell Luter or Darrell Luter just because of Saron Neal's guarantee to play special teams, I mean, what's more important, that you get a great corner that could potentially start for you, or that you have a special teamer that you like? I'll take that developmental corner like Jacob Robinson and Darrell Luter, because guess what? You're one injury away from those guys being your top corners. So the number one objective of a corner is to cover from scrimmage. What you do on special teams is great, but that has to be secondary. Niners can't put Saron Neal in front of Jacob Robinson and Darrell Luter at this cutdown, but I think it's very likely to happen. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle because of the cash. I think it's likely they don't want to waste $3 million of Jed's money, and I think Saron Neal is probably going to wind up on the 53. I hope that's not the case. I hope they don't lose any good young corners. I can't watch them reenact the Samuel Womack story for a second time. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. We're going to go check out practice. Check us out tonight at 6 o'clock. Niners Nightly. Should be a fun night. We'll recap the entire day from Santa Clara on KMBR's YouTube tonight at 6. And thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show, and Claw Daddy Arcades. Check you guys out later on today.